Hey y'all, and welcome back to part 3. So here I am going to show you how I did my skin tone layers, and I am showing you raw burnt sienna, raw sienna, burnt umber, and black. Now I realize, I don't know why every time I turn on this camera I get like amnesia and forget how to paint. It's like, I don't know, I usually paint in a zone and I don't try to film myself, which is why I don't really have a lot of these type videos, because it's so hard for me to concentrate when I know the camera is like timing me and like recording. But I realized I did my third skin tone layer first instead of building it up. When you do ethnic babies, you really have to build up that tone through layers. You can't just like jump into light to dark, or else you're going to get that splotchy blotchy look. And you have to make sure you blend out your paint. So what I'm doing now is actually the third skin tone layer. I do the burnt sienna, raw sienna, burnt umber, just a dot of black, and I mix that all together and dilute it. And I'm only keeping this part first in here so that you can see how dark it gets when you put it on the baby. And I realized this afterwards. So save you all the headache. And in order to do the first tone without it getting so dark, all you're going to be doing is mixing your burnt umber and your raw sienna. So the yellow ochre looking one and the brown one. So your burnt sienna and your raw umber. Those are the only two. Leave out the burnt umber and leave out the black. That's going to darken your paint. And unless you are like speed hands and really good at blending, I would advise not to do that as a first layer. As you can see in this video, I'll keep it so that you guys can see where I messed up at. But yeah, here I am blending out that skin tone, and I didn't realize until I put it on the back of the head that, oh shoot, this color is way too dark. But you also will see how my babies end up the color they are by looking at how dark this tone gets. I cannot emphasize enough how much you need to dilute these colors, because these colors are potent, okay? You want a milky, kind of watery consistency. Not so watery that when you put it on, it'll like swipe back off, but probably like milk, I would say. And make sure you dilute it with water and put your adhesion in there, because this joint is, look how dark that is, guys. Look how dark that is. That is normally like a third tone, okay? And I was like, this doesn't look like how I normally do it, but let me just blend it out. And also, you see how thick it is? If your paint is looking like that, this is why we test on the back of the head. If your paint is looking like that after you blend it, you did not dilute your paint enough. So do a little swab on the back, not as large as I did because I thought I had the consistency down. But do a little swab, and if it's still looking that thick like that, you're going to need to dilute it. And you'll watch me grab the spray bottle to dilute it on the head, because that is super thick. You should not see your color that thick. You should be able to see it, but it shouldn't be so thick that it looks like a huge stain on the vinyl. I don't know how to explain it. You guys will notice when I grab this spray bottle and dilute it on the head, how it should look for a second layer. Now this right here isn't bad, as I said. However, when the paint is this thick, it's really hard to blend. You guys see that? It's gonna get super hard to blend. You have to move very quickly if you leave your paint that thick, and that is the only reason why I say just make sure it's consistent, because you can still see the color, but it's not going to be so strong as it was. So yeah, that's basically what I did. And you're going to also see me realize that I did not do the correct starter tone. I did the third tone, and you're going to see me half that mixture and add more raw sienna to it. And I'm going to show you guys that right now. Okay, so this is how the mixture, I'm showing you, put more raw sienna in your mixture. So half it up and put more raw sienna in it. Here I'm showing you what we started out with. See how dark that is and how much lighter the second tone is? So this is why what I did is a second tone, and what I did first is technically a third tone. So basically, if you want to keep your third tone, all you can do is mix up the batch like I showed you first, half your batch, and then add more raw sienna into one of the cups. And make sure I'm just diluting it again because I added more raw sienna in there. And then you will see how the color differs. I'm about to show you guys in a sec. And I finished like cleaning off my brushes. So this is the skin tone I normally do. I don't know why I blanked out on that, but this is what I normally do. And then after about I usually do about 2 layers of this skin tone, and then I will go ahead and go in with one of that darker tone. But make sure your paint dries in between, because if it doesn't dry in between really good, it's going to swipe off your first layer. So just to make sure that, and make sure nothing's in your hands. I can't tell you how many times I've touched the baby and I had like thick paint on my hands from when I touched it. Thing. You see how nice that looks? I'm like, see, this is how it's supposed to be. This is the skin tone that we are aiming for. That is a starter skin tone that we are aiming for. And when you're blotting off your baby, just make sure you're not blotting like the same spot more than once. Move around, because if you do, it's gonna get all uneven and weird. So use your sponge to move around. I'm using the C sponge, and just, it's more of a press and blot. So you like press, blot. And then once I get it down enough, I'm just using a brush to finish smoothing it out. But make sure you get up most of the moisture with your sponge. And I'm going to continue and let you guys watch me do this. And I do, again, I just alternate for my skin tones. So I do this layer, and it depends on how dark you want your baby to be. You see that line right there? That's because you gotta be quick. Like when I say you have to be quick, when you blend, you have to be super quick. So if you're beginning, make sure you do small sections at a time, like small sections and blend, small sections and blend. That's getting covered up with hair, so not too worried about it, but small sections and blend it out, because you do have to be kind of quick with this color. It also helps to cover a good area that you know you can blend out right away, and then it'll give a more even coat. As you can see, I'm doing the cheek here, and it's giving a more even coat because it's a smaller section and I can easily move that paint around. Just keep in mind, small amounts of paint can cover a good amount of area. So all you really need is one good swipe and it will cover a good amount. So you don't have to do so many swipes. But again, with time, you'll learn to get a little quicker and you can do more with your paint. So I hope this helped you guys. I am going to be doing this skin tone for about 2 to 3 more layers. Again, it depends on how dark you want your baby. And then after that, just repeat what you did in the creasing and blushing video. I use that same color, and I'll go over the kit as a whole with that color to add some blood into the skin. So I'll do like 2 of these, and then I'll add a blush layer of color all over with the color I use for the hands, feet, stuff like that. And then I'll go over the kit with the third color that I showed you guys first, technically, if I want a darker baby. Just keep layering them up. At the end, like your final layer of paint, you if you want to, you can make your mix just a tad bit thicker than milk consistency, and then go over it to like give a flawless smooth finish. But as you guys can see, the baby is getting darker. So within maybe 2 more layers of this color, you can definitely see that the baby is going to be darker already. So it just depends on how dark you want your baby, and just keep going over those creases with the darker color if it's an ethnic baby, and then alternate between your blush layers and also your skin tone layers. So my rule of thumb, for every 2 skin tone layers I usually do 1 blush, just to, that will make your baby darker and it'll add blood flow. If you guys have any questions, feel free to message me. I really hope this was not confusing. Things to take from this video: number 1, make sure you dilute your paint. Number 2, small sections at a time so you can blend really well and it won't be streaky. Number 3, just make sure you have patience, really, because I'm gonna speed this video up, but you really have to take your time when you're blending these babies out. So yeah, feel free to ask me any questions and I can make specific videos on specific questions, but this is basically what I do to achieve the skin tones. It just depends on how light or how dark you want your baby to be, would be how many layers that you do. Alright, so I'll see you guys later and I'll let you enjoy the rest of the video. Bye.